This work was censored. It was part of the Karachi Biennale, and 2 or 3 days before the opening, it was literally ripped off the walls because some lady found the work to be offensive. So I've been on a journey to find out what is offensive about this work. If I'm showing the reality of the city we live in, surely the reality should be more offensive than me talking about it. I wanted to start a conversation about censorship and the responsibility of an artist, because we as artists in living in Pakistan live in fear.
Pakistani Constitution under Article 19 gives all citizens the right to freedom of speech and expression. However, the same article also lists out a set of objectives according to which this right can be limited. As far as art is concerned, in the Pakistan Penal Code section 292 very explicitly covers artwork and its display in public spaces or its sale. The other sections that can apply to artwork are all the sections that cover blasphemy, or any of the sections or pieces of legislation that cover treason. While these laws don't specifically censor art, they can limit the freedom of expression of artists in Pakistan to a great extent.
Can art be controlled? Yes, there are ways to control it by applying censorship. It can be controlled in terms of a third party applying censorship over anything it is that you've created. We look at film censor boards. You can look at my own work going up in certain art galleries and then being rejected from there. That is censorship being applied and being adhered to. Zia's time was Pakistan's first exposure to state censorship. In this situation, what happened was that other kinds of art, which were not figurative, which were not abstract, which were not deemed un-Islamic, made a huge rise during Zia's time. But at the same time, I've noticed that in situations where censorship is applied, over time resistance develops towards that negation of freedom of expression. And when that happens, censorship actually results in a more fruitful flowering of the kind of art that's being produced. Because the more you tell someone that they can't do it, the natural instinct is to resist that. Zia's time was really interesting because there were a bunch of artists who actually were in resistance to the censorship laws of the time, which was the more interesting movement to follow, because artists like Ijaz al-Hasan and Nagori and Iqbal Hussain, Salima Hashmi, they actually started taking steps to deal with censorship laws.
Nagori was painting anti-American thing. Americans were supporting our government, and he wanted to exhibit at a government place, so they refused. I arranged his exhibition at the press club in Islamabad. So it was not the president, Ziaul never gave direct orders. This was just the personal feelings of the people who were running the Arts Council at that time. I don't think governments put censorship on artists. It is the organization which arranges the exhibition. They put censorship on artists, and sometimes they think that the painting they are displaying might damage the reputation of the gallery or the museum. Instead of censorship, I would say it's dirty politics in art.
More than state censorship now, I think the issue is becoming self-censorship. Self-censorship is the act of censoring your work before you even started to work. It is the method of holding back on what it is that the boldness of maybe what it is that you actually want to present based on your interactions on a daily basis with friends, family, colleagues, the people around you in your social circle, and their sensitivity and their beliefs as to what they're open enough to absorb and not. We're becoming very, very conscious of what to present and what not to present. And that in a way is control of society around us on us.
Sometimes people are afraid of doing things. Then there are people who are not afraid of doing things. If you look not our history, but history in totality, you will see that people who created a change, they were always brave. They were not afraid to express. They were not afraid to show what they are capable of doing.
You, as an artist, should be fearless. Throughout history, the artist is always fearless. It's always the artist that speaks up. It's always the poet, the artist, the musician that speaks up when everyone is quiet and scared.